Welcome back. The 2026 BTS World Tour isn't just a global phenomenon, it's a billion-dollar battlefield for luxury brands. Based on the wildest media leaks and industry whispers, we are predicting the absolute highest contract fees each member bagged for this historic run. Who secured the ultimate bag? Which global mega brand paid an absolute fortune just for a few seconds of stage time? Get ready, because these mind-blowing speculative numbers will leave you speechless. Are you ready? Number 7. Jin, the worldwide handsome's timeless deal. A fortune for a glance. Picture the deafening roar of 90,000 fans inside a packed stadium, the lights dimming into a pitch-black abyss, and suddenly, a single blinding spotlight pierces the darkness to reveal none other than Jin, the undisputed worldwide handsome, gleaming not just with his natural, effortless charisma, but with an accessory that reportedly came with a jaw-dropping price tag of $15 million just to be worn during this highly anticipated 2026 World Tour. According to wild media leaks and fervent industry whispers circulating the global financial districts, the legendary French luxury jewelry and watch house, Cartier, didn't just want a tiny slice of the monumental BTS pie. They wanted the absolute pinnacle of global elegance, and they found their ultimate muse in Kim Sok-jin. We are talking about an unprecedented, record-shattering tour contract that has completely rewritten the playbook of celebrity endorsements, a deal so massive and strategically aggressive that Wall Street analysts and marketing professors are still trying to wrap their heads around the sheer return on investment of this monumental partnership. Why Jin, you might ask? After his triumphant, highly publicized return from mandatory military service and his profoundly soulful solo endeavors that proved to the world his immense vocal prowess and raw emotional depth, Jin's mature, sophisticated, and princely aura perfectly aligned with Cartier's centuries-old legacy of outfitting royalty and defining timeless luxury. Imagine the breathtaking scene unfolding before your very eyes. The music slows down, he gently raises the microphone to his lips, and the intense stadium lighting perfectly catches the blinding, almost hypnotic sparkle of a custom-designed, one-of-a-kind Panthère de Cartier watch alongside an intricately crafted, flawless diamond necklace, both heavily featured and magnified on the stadium's massive, state-of-the-art 8K Jumbotron screens for millions to witness. It's not just a piece of jewelry being flaunted, it's a masterclass, a highly calculated masterpiece of edutainment marketing, where the rich, storied history of a brand famously favored by King Edward VII, who famously dubbed Cartier the jeweler of kings and the king of jewelers, seamlessly intersects with the biggest, most unstoppable pop culture phenomenon of the 21st century. The emotional weight in the stadium at that exact moment is palpable and deeply moving. Fans aren't just looking at a wealthy, untouchable idol. They are bearing witness to the miraculous evolution of a young, hopeful boy who once handed out concert flyers on the sun-baked streets of Los Angeles, now commanding the world's biggest stages while dripping in a literal king's ransom, proudly representing a heritage brand that defines the very essence of global opulence. The heavily guarded, leaked contract allegedly stipulates with extreme precision that Jin must wear these specific, high-end, museum-quality pieces during the most emotionally vulnerable ballad sections of the concert setlist, strategically and brilliantly pairing the raw vulnerability of his voice in songs like Epiphany and The Astronaut with the unyielding strength, permanence, and eternal sparkle of flawless diamonds. This juxtaposition is nothing short of pure marketing genius, creating a deep, subconscious psychological link in the minds of millions of viewers across the globe between profound emotional resonance personal resilience, and the pinnacle of luxury craftsmanship. But let's dive even deeper into the gritty reality of this mind-boggling deal. In today's fiercely cutthroat fashion and luxury industry, digital visibility is the ultimate unrivaled currency, and a single 10-second viral clip of Jin subtly adjusting his Cartier watch on TikTok, Instagram Reels, or X generates more organic media impact, fan engagement, and direct sales in 24 hours than a traditional multi-million-dollar global billboard and magazine campaign could ever hope to achieve in an entire year. The alleged $15 million fee isn't just paying for him to wear cold metal and stones. It's a massive, calculated investment into the modern cultural zeitgeist. A brilliant survival tactic for an old-money European house to secure its relevance, dominance, and desirability among the incredibly dynamic, trend-setting, and fiercely loyal demographic of the global army. Reflecting on this monumental shift, it's absolutely mind-blowing to think about how the dynamics of corporate power have drastically shifted over the decades. Historically, legacy brands arrogantly dictated the market and chose who was worthy. But today, untouchable megastars like Jin hold all the leverage, essentially forcing legacy fashion houses to adapt, innovate, and throw open their incredibly deep, heavily guarded vaults just for a few fleeting, magical seconds of tour spotlight. When you see him standing there, bathed in a sea of glowing purple light, closing his eyes to hit that perfect crystalline high note while millions weep in the crowd, you are looking at a walking, breathing empire, a beautiful testament to relentless hard work, and a literal multi-million-dollar moving billboard that has completely and utterly redefined what it means to be a brand ambassador in the modern entertainment era. Number 6. J-Hope, the king of street style's billion-dollar step, a dance of pure gold. Imagine the bass dropping so incredibly hard that the very foundation of the massive stadium vibrates right up through your sneakers, the colossal LED screens glitching in a hyper-stylized, adrenaline-pumping cyberpunk aesthetic, and out rises the absolute maestro of movement himself, Jungkook, better known to the world as J-Hope, bringing an energy so infectious and raw that it completely redefines the very concept of a live, global performance. But hold your breath and wait until you hear the mind-blowing, heavily speculated numbers behind the sheer fabric wrapping his electrifying silhouette during this colossal 2026 World Tour, because elite industry insiders and high-level fashion executives in Paris are quietly hyperventilating over a rumored $18 million mega contract secured exclusively with the monumental French fashion powerhouse, Louis Vuitton. We aren't just talking about your standard off-the-rack luxury endorsements here. We are diving deep into the fascinating realm of bespoke, hyper-engineered performance art where every single thread, every oversized, gravity-defying silhouette, and every meticulously placed iconic monogram has been mathematically designed to catch the blinding stadium strobes and flow flawlessly with his legendary popping and locking. According to the wildest financial leaks echoing through the secretive corridors of the global fashion elite, Louis Vuitton didn't just sponsor a global pop idol. They effectively rented the most kinetic, dynamic human billboard on the planet to showcase their ultra-exclusive, futuristic streetwear fusion line, betting absolute fortunes on the sheer cultural gravity of J-Hope's explosive solo stages. Think about the profound, deeply moving contrast for a second. This is the exact same incredibly determined, wide-eyed kid from the underground street dance crew Neuron in Gwangju, who spent countless grueling hours sweating in tiny, dimly lit underground studios, now commanding the absolute pinnacle of global luxury while executing a flawless, mind-bending moonwalk across a massive stadium stage in custom-crafted sneakers that likely cost more than a luxury sports car. It is a cinematic, rags-to-riches, sweat-to-diamonds narrative that resonates so intensely with millions of fans across the globe because it proves that raw, unfiltered passion and unimaginable hard work can literally bend the highest echelons of elite European fashion to your absolute will. The rumored $18 million contract allegedly contains heavily guarded, highly specific clauses demanding that J-Hope debut completely unseen, avant-garde pieces during the absolute peak tempo of his solo stages, specifically during high-octane tracks like Arson or More, visually marrying the destructive, fiery passion of his underground hip-hop roots with the cutting-edge, unapologetic rebellion of modern high fashion. The psychological brilliance of this monumental brand partnership is staggering when you break it down into an edutainment perspective. Louis Vuitton knows exactly what they are doing because when J-Hope moves, he doesn't just wear the clothes, he breathes fire and life into them, transforming static luxury garments into an explosive visual symphony of fluid motion, unparalleled swagger, and mesmerizing charisma that traditional runway models could only ever dream of achieving. Every single time he hits a sharp, rhythmic isolation or slides effortlessly across the massive stage, high-definition fan cams and incredibly sophisticated 8K tour cameras capture the aggressive, unapologetic luxury of his fit, instantly generating millions of microscopic, highly viral fashion moments that absolutely flood global social media algorithms within seconds of the concert ending. This isn't just a simple wardrobe choice. It is a highly calculated, brilliantly aggressive takeover of the digital fashion landscape, with the historic Maison essentially weaponizing J-Hope's unparalleled stage presence to completely dominate the global youth market and solidify their undisputed reign over the highly lucrative intersection of high fashion, global pop culture. Let's delve even deeper into the sheer magnitude of this spectacle. Imagine the psychological effect on the massive, completely sold-out crowd of nearly 90,000 screaming armies when the heavy, pulsating rhythm of the music syncs perfectly with the intense, synchronized flashing of their army bombs, turning the entire stadium into a living, breathing ocean of color that frames J-Hope as the ultimate epicenter of the universe. This monumental 2026 tour represents a massive cultural shift, a highly fascinating era where the traditional boundaries separating elite, untouchable Parisian fashion houses from grassroots, street-level hip-hop culture have been completely obliterated by the sheer force of J-Hope's artistry. After his highly anticipated return from his mandatory military service, he didn't just step back onto the stage. He arrived with an elevated, intensely refined aura, a mature, razor-sharp edge that perfectly complements the avant-garde, boundary-pushing designs that Louis Vuitton's creative directors allegedly spent thousands of hours meticulously conceptualizing specifically for his unique body mechanics. The absolute genius of this rumored multi-million-dollar strategy lies in the undeniable fact that modern consumers don't just want to buy impossibly expensive products anymore. They desperately crave authentic, emotionally charged narratives. And there is absolutely nothing more authentic than watching an artist who poured his literal blood, sweat, and tears into his craft, finally reaping the absolute highest rewards the global market has to offer. Every single bead of sweat flying off his face as he dominates the intense choreography, Every confident, piercing gaze directed right into the massive camera lenses serves as a powerful, undeniable testament to his legendary Hope World ethos, a vibrant, fiercely optimistic universe that legacy brands are now willing to pay tens of millions of dollars just to be a tiny part of. This is the ultimate masterclass in modern business. You take the undisputed king of global street style, arm him with an $18 million bespoke luxury wardrobe, and let him loose on the biggest, most technologically advanced concert stages ever constructed in human history, resulting in a marketing supernova so incredibly bright and powerful that it will undoubtedly be studied in elite business schools for generations to come. Number 5. Jimin, the swan of high fashion, a staggering price for ethereal elegance. Picture the massive stadium falling into absolute pin-drop silence, the air thick with heavy anticipation, as a single, hauntingly beautiful orchestral melody begins to echo through the state-of-the-art acoustic system, and slowly, gracefully rising from beneath the stage is none other than Park Jimin, the ethereal swan of BTS, whose mere presence is enough to send shivers down the spines of 90,000 devoted fans. But what the untrained eye might just see as a breathtaking stage outfit is actually the center of a heavily speculated, earth-shattering $20 million exclusive tour contract with the legendary Parisian fashion house Christian Dior, a deal so immensely lucrative and deeply strategic that it has completely sent shockwaves through the global financial and fashion sectors. According to the wildest, most fiercely guarded media leaks and insider whispers straight from the elite ateliers of Avenue Montaigne, Dior didn't just want a handsome face to wear their clothes. They desperately needed the absolute embodiment of modern, fluid masculinity, and they found their perfect, unparalleled muse in Jimin. We are talking about a bespoke, hyper-tailored wardrobe where every single sequence of fabric, every delicate embroidery, and every sweeping silhouette has been mathematically engineered by artistic director Kim Jones himself to perfectly complement Jimin's legendary, gravity-defying contemporary dance background. Think about the profound, deeply emotional journey for a moment. This is the exact same fiercely dedicated young boy who once relentlessly pushed his body to the absolute breaking point in the grueling dance studios of the Busan High School of Arts, mastering the delicate art of modern dance and ballet, now seamlessly merging his breathtaking physical artistry with the highest, most untouchable echelon of European haute couture on the grandest stage human history has ever seen. The rumored $20 million mega contract allegedly dictates that Jimin must feature these jaw-dropping, one-of-a-kind Dior masterpieces during the most emotionally devastating, beautifully choreographed solo performances of the 2026 World Tour, particularly during tracks like Lie or Filter, where his signature fluid movements transform the stage into a literal moving canvas of high art and raw, unfiltered passion. The psychological and financial brilliance of this monumental partnership from an edutainment perspective is truly staggering. Dior completely understands that in the modern, hyper-digital age, static runway models are rapidly becoming obsolete, and what they truly need to captivate the notoriously fickle global youth market is the unparalleled earned media value that only a megastar of Jimin's caliber can instantly generate with a single, dramatic sweep of his arm. Every time he gracefully leaps across the massive LED floor, the high-definition stadium cameras and millions of perfectly positioned smartphones capture the exquisite, almost supernatural flow of the custom Dior fabrics, instantly creating millions of highly viral, microscopic fashion moments that completely dominate global social media algorithms and drive unprecedented, record-breaking sales in Dior boutiques from Tokyo to New York within mere hours of the concert ending. It is a brilliant, aggressive masterclass in modern luxury marketing, seamlessly blending the rich, storied heritage of a historic French fashion house with the unstoppable, cultural tsunami of South Korean pop dominance, proving that true luxury is no longer just about the price tag, but about the profound emotional connection and the breathtaking visual spectacle. But let's dive even deeper into the sheer, mind-boggling scale of this phenomenon. Imagine the intense psychological impact on the massive, sold-out crowd when the stadium lights perfectly catch the delicate, hand-stitched details of his outfit during a heart-stopping spin, creating a blindingly beautiful visual symphony that perfectly mirrors the delicate yet incredibly powerful falsetto of his world-renowned vocals. This legendary 2026 tour represents a massive, undeniable paradigm shift in the global entertainment industry, a fascinating new era where the traditional, rigid boundaries separating elite Parisian fashion from explosive global pop culture have been beautifully and irrevocably shattered by the sheer, undeniable force of Jimin's artistic genius. After returning from his mandatory military service with an even more profound sense of maturity and an elevated, deeply refined aura, Jimin didn't just return to the stage. He ascended to the absolute pinnacle of global cultural royalty, wielding a level of influence and soft power that traditional politicians and corporate CEOs can only dream of possessing. The absolute genius of this rumored multi-million-dollar strategy lies in the undeniable fact that modern consumers desperately crave authenticity and breathtaking artistry, and there is absolutely nothing more authentic than watching an artist who poured his literal soul into his craft, effortlessly commanding the world's biggest stages while wrapped in the absolute pinnacle of luxury craftsmanship. Every single breathtaking pose, every piercing, soulful gaze directed into the massive stadium cameras serves as a powerful, undeniable testament to his legendary dedication, a beautifully woven narrative of blood, sweat, and tears that legacy brands are now desperately fighting to be a part of, willing to throw open their heavily guarded vaults and pay tens of millions of dollars just for a few fleeting, magical seconds of global spotlight. Can you even begin to fathom the sheer magnitude of power it takes to make a historic brand like Dior rewrite their entire global marketing strategy just to align with the release of a single tour date? This is the ultimate, undeniable proof that in the modern era, the artist is the true luxury, and Jimin, with his $20 million silhouette, has completely redefined what it means to be a global fashion icon, leaving us all breathless, completely mesmerized, and desperately wondering what impossible feat he will conquer next. Number 4. RM. The brains behind the billion-dollar brand. A mastermind's quiet luxury, a record-breaking masterpiece. Picture the blinding, chaotic stadium lights suddenly shifting from a frantic, high-octane frenzy into a cool, sophisticated, deep indigo ambience, the deafening screams of the crowd instantly grounding themselves into a heavy, almost reverent intellectual gravity as the undisputed leader, the mastermind himself, Kim Namjoon, steps up to the microphone, stand with an aura so profoundly commanding that 90,000 devoted fans instantly hang on to his every single breath. But what completely shatters the minds of elite Wall Street analysts and high society fashion purists isn't just his notoriously deep, chest-rattling baritone voice echoing through the state-of-the-art acoustic sound system. It is the staggering, fiercely guarded $22 million speculative contract he allegedly inked with the ultra-exclusive Italian luxury house Bottega Veneta, exclusively for this monumental 2026 World Tour. We are not talking about flashy logo-mania streetwear meant to simply blind the cameras and chase fleeting internet trends. We are diving deep into the fascinating, highly lucrative, and incredibly secretive world of quiet luxury and stealth wealth, where true, untouchable power whispers instead of screams, and where visionary creative directors reportedly flew highly classified missions straight to Seoul to meticulously craft a bespoke, hyper-tailored wardrobe utilizing their legendary, century-old intrecciato leather weaving technique, explicitly designed to drape over RM's towering, incredibly sculpted physique. Think about the profound, deeply poetic contrast for a second. The fiercely intelligent, intensely protective leader of the world's biggest group, the man who eloquently and historically addressed the United Nations and regularly spends his rare, highly coveted days off quietly contemplating priceless contemporary art in secluded museums, is now taking the absolute biggest, loudest stages in human history while draped in the most understated, fiercely expensive, subtly crafted garments ever conceived by European artisans. According to wild media leaks and frantic whispers echoing inside the heavily guarded trading floors of the Milan Stock Exchange, this staggering $22 million partnership is a calculated, devastatingly brilliant masterclass in modern demographic targeting, because the executives at Bottega Veneta know exactly what they are buying. They aren't just blindly sponsoring a global pop star. They are securing the ultimate, unrivaled intellectual endorsement, mathematically aligning their incredibly high barrier to entry heritage products with Namjoon's firmly established reputation as a profound thinker, a voracious reader, and a highly respected art connoisseur. This brilliant business maneuver perfectly captures the massively lucrative, older, incredibly wealthy demographic of the global army who profoundly appreciate subtle, uncompromising craftsmanship over loud, highly saturated hype culture. Every single time RM intensely grips the microphone stand during explosive, thought-provoking rap tracks like Persona or his deeply introspective, emotionally raw solo masterpieces, the highly advanced 8K stadium cameras instantly catch the flawless, buttery drape of his custom leather jacket and the subtle, unmistakable texture of the woven leather, instantly sending a highly sophisticated, subconscious psychological signal to millions of viewers across the globe that true luxury doesn't ever need to beg for your attention. It simply exists in a state of absolute perfection. It is a deeply emotional, cinematic evolution when you truly take a step back and reflect on it. This is the exact same brilliant but heavily burdened underground rapper once known as Runch Randa, who ruthlessly navigated the gritty, unforgiving underground hip-hop scene of South Korea, constantly battling intense industry prejudices and fighting tooth and nail to keep his beloved group together through their darkest, most uncertain rookie days, now standing like an absolute titan, an untouchable global icon commanding a $22 million fashion contract that literally shapes the global economic trends of the entire Italian luxury export market. The leaked, highly classified contract supposedly features incredibly strict, unprecedented clauses demanding that these specific, museum-quality bespoke pieces only be worn during the most lyrically complex, emotionally devastating segments of the concert, perfectly mirroring the intricate, complex layers of RM's legendary lyricism with the intricate, handmade layers of the Italian garments. This represents the brilliant intersection of top-tier edutainment and global macroeconomics, where the traditional, historically snobbish European fashion houses have finally, undeniably realized that to survive the fierce, unforgiving modern digital market, they must desperately bow down to the sheer cultural gravity of South Korean artistic dominance, effectively handing over the golden keys to their most guarded, historic ateliers to a man who literally built an empire out of pure poetry, fierce intellect, and relentless perseverance. When you witness him striding across that massive, infinitely sprawling LED stage, his presence completely dwarfing the colossal production around him, dropping fiercely intellectual bars that make millions of people violently question society and their own deeply rooted identities, you are looking at the absolute zenith of modern cultural influence, a living, breathing multi-billion-dollar enterprise wrapped in a $22 million silhouette of pure, unadulterated Italian perfection that proves without a single shadow of a doubt to the entire watching world that supreme intelligence is, and always will be, the ultimate, most irresistible luxury on the planet. Number 3. Suga, the underground king's crimson reign, a blazing fortune for raw authenticity. Picture the colossal stadium plunging into an eerie, suffocating silence, the massive LED screens abruptly cutting to a blistering, deep crimson red, and suddenly the sharp, piercing wail of a traditional Korean hagium violently slices through the crisp night air, signaling the arrival of the undisputed king of raw, unapologetic hip-hop, Min Yoongi, completely obliterating the stage with an aura so fiercely intimidating and profoundly powerful that 90,000 screaming fans are instantly paralyzed in sheer, unadulterated awe. But what is truly making the notoriously cutthroat executives of the global fashion industry completely lose their minds isn't just his notoriously blistering, Spitfire rap delivery that casually defies the physical limits of human breathing. It is the staggering, fiercely speculated $25 million exclusive tour contract he allegedly ruthlessly negotiated with the legendary Italian luxury fashion house Valentino, explicitly for the monumental, record-breaking 2026 World Tour. We are diving headfirst into a brilliantly chaotic, highly lucrative collision of worlds, where the historically pristine, romantic, and hyper-elegant architectural tailoring of Rome violently crashes into the gritty, rebellious, anti-establishment ethos of August D, creating a visual and financial supernova that has completely redefined the very fabric of celebrity endorsement. According to the most frantic, heavily guarded leaks spilling out of the elite European financial sectors, Valentino didn't just casually throw tens of millions of dollars at a popular idol. They executed a desperate, highly calculated masterstroke to completely monopolize the global cultural zeitgeist, realizing that to truly captivate the intensely loyal, fiercely protective modern youth demographic, they needed the absolute ultimate symbol of raw, unfiltered authenticity, and they found their perfect, unapologetic weapon in Suga. Think about the intensely emotional, deeply cinematic journey that is unfolding right before your very eyes. This is the exact same fiercely determined, incredibly stubborn kid from Daegu who literally starved in tiny, freezing underground studios, selling his brilliant, soul-crushing beats for mere pennies just to buy a bowl of noodles. The young man who shattered his shoulder working a grueling delivery job to survive the harsh reality of his trainee days, now standing at the absolute zenith of global power, aggressively dominating the biggest stages in human history while draped from head to toe in custom, heavily embroidered, one-of-a-kind Valentino haute couture that reportedly took thousands of hours for elite Italian artisans to meticulously construct. The rumored $25 million mega contract allegedly contains intensely strict, highly specific clauses demanding that Suga exclusively wear these breathtaking, deeply subversive custom pieces during his most aggressive, emotionally volatile solo stages, perfectly and brilliantly weaponizing the intense, visceral rage of tracks like Dachuita and Amygdala to completely shatter the traditional, incredibly rigid boundaries of European high fashion. Imagine the profound, deeply emotional juxtaposition when he suddenly slows the entire stadium down, gently sitting at a grand piano or gripping a heavily guarded, custom-crafted Valentino-branded acoustic guitar, letting his raw, completely unedited vocals and heartbreakingly honest lyrics about depression, societal pressure, and overcoming impossible odds bleed through the state-of-the-art acoustic system. He instantly transforms their incredibly expensive, static garments into a living, breathing symbol of unyielding resilience and absolute, undeniable victory. This is the absolute pinnacle of edutainment marketing genius, perfectly illustrating how legacy brands are desperately cannibalizing underground hip-hop culture to stay alive in the modern digital era. Every single time he aggressively swipes his microphone, the blinding stadium strobes perfectly catch the subtle, incredibly expensive glimmer of the iconic Valentino rock studs embedded directly into his bespoke leather jacket, instantly generating billions of highly viral, micro-fashion moments that completely hijack the global social media algorithms and send the brand's quarterly search volume and digital engagement metrics absolutely skyrocketing into the stratosphere within minutes of performance. It is a deeply moving, incredibly triumphant evolution when you truly analyze the macroeconomic impact. After successfully completing his mandatory military service and returning with an even sharper, more intensely focused, and maturely dangerous edge, Yoongi isn't just wearing luxury clothes, he is actively and aggressively conquering them, violently twisting the pristine, high society aesthetic of Valentino to perfectly fit his own dark, beautifully complex, and intensely personal narrative. The sheer, terrifying genius of this $25 million strategy lies in the undeniable psychological fact that the modern consumer is completely exhausted by fake, manufactured perfection, desperately craving the ugly, beautiful, scarred reality of true human endurance. And there is absolutely no one on the planet who embodies that fierce, scarred victory better than Min Yoongi. When you see him standing there, bathed in that intense, violent red light, pouring his literal blood, sweat, and tears into a performance that fundamentally shifts the emotional atmosphere of the entire stadium, you are witnessing the absolute breathtaking pinnacle of modern cultural dominance, a walking, breathing, $25 million testament to the undeniable fact that raw, unyielding authenticity is the most dangerously expensive and highly coveted luxury in the entire world, leaving the entire industry desperately scrambling to keep up with his monumental, groundbreaking legacy. Number 2. The Renaissance Prince of Paris, a breathtaking fortune for the ultimate muse. Picture the massive stadium lights completely dimming down to a sultry, smoky, vintage cabaret aesthetic, a solitary, melancholy saxophone note echoing beautifully through the crisp night air, and stepping directly into the warm, golden spotlight is the undisputed global it-boy and absolute visual masterpiece himself, Kim Taehyung, better known to the world as V, completely freezing the hearts and minds of 90,000 devoted fans with an aura so dangerously magnetic and effortlessly cool that it literally shifts the atmospheric pressure of the entire arena. But what is currently causing elite Wall Street executives and the famously stoic Parisian fashion elite to completely hyperventilate into their expensive silk handkerchiefs isn't just his notoriously deep velvety honey-like baritone voice melting out of the state-of-the-art acoustic system. It is the mind-bending, fiercely speculated $30 million exclusive tour contract he allegedly secured with the fiercely edgy, rock-chic French luxury powerhouse Celine, specifically for this monumental, history-making 2026 World Tour. We are diving deep into a beautifully chaotic, highly lucrative, and utterly unprecedented collision of eras, where the intensely protective, heavily guarded vaults of high fashion are completely thrown open to crown the ultimate modern Renaissance man, creating a visual and financial supernova that has completely rewritten the very definition of a global brand ambassador. According to the wildest, most heavily guarded media leaks completely flooding the digital trading floors of Europe, Celine didn't just want a handsome celebrity to wear their latest seasonal collection. They were executing a desperate, highly calculated, and brilliant masterstroke to absolutely monopolize the global cultural zeitgeist, realizing that to truly conquer the notoriously fickle, highly lucrative global youth demographic, they desperately needed the ultimate, unrivaled symbol of effortless, boundary-pushing cool, and they found their perfect, unapologetic muse in Taeyong. Think about the intensely emotional, deeply cinematic journey unfolding right before your very eyes for a second. This is the exact same sweet, innocent, farm-raised boy from Daegu, who was famously kept as the group's hidden member until the very last minute before their debut. The deeply artistic soul who spent his youth practicing the saxophone and dreaming of quiet jazz clubs, now standing at the absolute zenith of global power, aggressively dominating the biggest stages in human history while draped from head to toe in bespoke, hyper-tailored, one-of-a-kind Celine haute couture, meticulously constructed to perfectly match his dangerously alluring stage persona. The rumored $30 million mega contract allegedly contains intensely strict, unprecedented clauses demanding that V exclusively wear these breathtaking, deeply subversive custom pieces. Think dangerously fitted leather jackets, intricate silk shirts flowing with every subtle movement, and flawlessly tailored trousers that scream vintage rock star during his most sultry, emotionally captivating solo stages like Singularity, or his incredibly jazzy, breathtakingly smooth solo tracks, perfectly and brilliantly weaponizing his legendary, heart-stopping gaze to completely shatter the traditional, incredibly rigid boundaries of European high fashion. Imagine the profound, deeply emotional juxtaposition when he suddenly slows the entire stadium down, casually dragging a microphone stand across the massive LED floor with that signature, effortlessly rebellious swagger, letting his raw, completely unedited, soulful vocals completely wash over the hysterical crowd. He instantly transforms their incredibly expensive, static garments into a living, breathing symbol of dangerous romance and absolute, undeniable victory. This is the absolute pinnacle of edutainment marketing genius, perfectly illustrating how legacy brands are desperately leveraging the legendary V effect, a terrifyingly powerful economic phenomenon where literally any item of clothing, accessory, or even a book that Taeyong merely touches completely sells out globally within mere seconds to stay alive and dominant in the unforgiving modern digital era. Every single time he playfully smirks into the massive 8K stadium cameras or runs a hand through his perfectly tousled hair, The blinding stadium strobes catch the subtle, incredibly expensive glimmer of his bespoke Celine accessories, instantly generating billions of highly viral, microscopic fashion moments that completely hijack global social media algorithms and send the brand's quarterly digital engagement metrics and global sales absolutely skyrocketing into the stratosphere before the concert has even reached its encore. It is a deeply moving, incredibly triumphant evolution when you truly analyze the macroeconomic impact. After successfully completing his mandatory military service and returning with an even sharper, more intensely focused, and dangerously mature edge, Taehyung isn't just modeling luxury clothes, he is actively and beautifully breathing life into them, violently twisting the pristine, high society aesthetic of Parisian fashion to perfectly fit his own unique, beautifully complex, and intensely artistic narrative. The sheer, terrifying genius of this $30 million strategy lies in the undeniable psychological fact that the modern consumer is completely exhausted by manufactured, stiff perfection, desperately craving the raw, unpredictable, and dangerously magnetic energy of a true rock star. And there is absolutely no one on the entire planet who embodies that fierce, artistic rebellion better than Kim Taehyung. When you see him standing there, bathed in that intense golden light, pouring his literal soul into a performance that fundamentally shifts the emotional atmosphere of the entire stadium, you are witnessing the absolute, breathtaking pinnacle of modern cultural dominance. A walking, breathing, $30 million testament to the undeniable fact that pure, unadulterated charisma is the most dangerously expensive and highly coveted luxury in the entire world, leaving the entire industry desperately scrambling to keep up with his monumental, groundbreaking legacy. So, if the It Boy commands a staggering 30 million, can you even begin to comprehend, let alone mentally prepare yourself for the sheer astronomical, history-shattering numbers surrounding the absolute final, undeniable titan sitting at our number one spot? Number 1. Jungkook. The Golden Titan's billion-dollar canvas, a shattering fortune for the ultimate pop king. Picture the very foundations of the colossal stadium literally shaking, the deafening roar of 90,000 hysterical fans reaching a terrifying, ear-splitting crescendo that physically reverberates through your chest as the massive central LED screens suddenly split open to reveal the absolute, undisputed apex predator of the global pop industry, Jungkook, standing there with an aura so unbelievably dominant and fiercely confident that the entire world seemingly stops spinning just to watch him breathe. But what is currently causing top-tier Wall Street analysts to frantically rewrite their entire global economic forecasts and sending absolute shockwaves through the highest, most untouchable echelons of the fashion industry is the legendary, heavily whispered, and fiercely speculated $45 million mega contract he allegedly signed with the American powerhouse Calvin Klein, completely revolutionizing the brand from its accessible roots into an untouchable, bespoke luxury titan exclusively for this earth-shattering 2026 World Tour. We are not just talking about a standard celebrity endorsement, we are bearing witness to a monumental, historical corporate takeover where Calvin Klein didn't just hire an ambassador, they essentially surrendered their entire global creative direction to the magnetic, gravity-defying, gravitational pull of the golden machine, realizing that to truly dominate the aggressive, hyper-competitive modern digital landscape, they desperately needed the absolute pinnacle of modern masculinity, raw athletic power, and unparalleled global influence. Think about the profound, deeply moving, and intensely cinematic evolution unfolding right before your very eyes. This is the exact same incredibly shy, wide-eyed 15-year-old boy who literally moved to Seoul with nothing but a frantic dream, who used to cry quietly in the corner of cramped, freezing practice rooms because he missed his parents in Busan. Now standing at the absolute zenith of human cultural dominance, effortlessly commanding the biggest, most technologically advanced stages in human history, while completely dripping in custom, hyper-tailored, avant-garde pieces that seamlessly and beautifully blend aggressive streetwear with untouchable, bespoke luxury. The rumored $45 million record-shattering contract allegedly dictates with terrifying precision that Jungkook must debut these jaw-dropping, one-of-a-kind, flawlessly engineered garments during his most physically demanding, aggressively choreographed solo stages, completely weaponizing the blistering, high-octane energy of global mega-hits like Seven and Standing Next to You to utterly obliterate the traditional boundaries of performance fashion. Imagine the sheer, raw, unadulterated power of the moment when he aggressively tears off a custom-designed jacket mid-performance, the blinding stadium strobes perfectly illuminating his heavily tattooed arm, a beautiful, living, breathing tapestry of his personal history and intense devotion to his fans, instantly transforming a simple piece of fabric into the single most violently coveted item on the face of the planet. This is the absolute, terrifying zenith of edutainment marketing genius, perfectly illustrating the terrifying reality of the modern economy where legacy brands are desperately clamoring, fighting tooth and nail, and emptying their deepest, most heavily guarded corporate vaults just to buy a fraction of a millisecond of his digital shadow. Every single time he hits a flawless, mathematically impossible dance break, every time he flashes that legendary, playfully arrogant smirk directly into the high-definition 8K stadium cameras, he instantly generates tens of billions of highly viral, microscopic digital interactions, completely crashing social media servers and causing global e-commerce platforms to literally buckle under the crushing weight of unprecedented, hysterical consumer demand within milliseconds of the concert ending. It is a deeply emotional, incredibly triumphant victory lap when you truly analyze the staggering macroeconomic impact after his highly anticipated return from mandatory military service. Returning to the stage with an even more dangerously refined, intensely mature, and overwhelmingly powerful physical presence, Jungkook isn't just wearing these clothes, he is actively defining them, single-handedly turning a classic brand into the ultimate, undisputed symbol of global youth rebellion and untouchable pop supremacy. The sheer, terrifying genius of this $45 million strategy lies in the undeniable psychological fact that the modern consumer desperately craves authenticity, raw talent, and unapologetic power, and there is absolutely no one in the entire history of the global entertainment industry who embodies that fierce, world-conquering dominance better than Jungkook. When you see him standing there, bathed in an ocean of blinding, frantic light, pouring his literal blood, sweat, and tears into a historically monumental performance that fundamentally and permanently shifts the cultural axis of the entire planet, you are witnessing the absolute, breathtaking pinnacle of modern human achievement. A walking, breathing, $45 million testament to the undeniable fact that pure, unadulterated star power is the most dangerously expensive, fiercely protected, and highly coveted luxury in the entire world. leaving the entire global industry desperately, frantically scrambling to survive in his monumental, earth-shattering shadow. So, after witnessing these mind-bending, astronomical figures that completely dwarf the GDP of small nations, we have to ask you, which of these legendary, world-conquering Titan contracts absolutely blew your mind the most? And are you truly ready for the terrifying, unprecedented scale of what the future of global entertainment holds?